Hey, thanks for tuning into another video. I just wanted to address this. I was at a couple of stores in toy sections the last little while. My son just turned 10, and I'm noticing more and more and more as I go to these toy stores. Every time, I have two sons. Anytime either of them have a birthday, and I'm noticing each time there's fewer and fewer and fewer Star Wars toys. The ones that are there are usually on sale. They're usually couponed or whatever. Not always though. Like I've noticed, like they came out with these 8-inch or whatever figures. They're really cheaply made, really garbage plastic, but they're OT characters. They're Vader and Luke. There are some sequel ones as well, but the OT ones are never on sale, which is also an interesting thing. So that being said, I kind of thought about why is it that these toys don't sell, or the ones that are selling are OT primarily. And I started to think about it, and I started coming up with some reasons. And so I think one of the things is because fans that have kids have marginalized Star Wars to their kids. I'm one of them, right? So when my kids, they still love Star Wars, but they see the flaws in the most recent stuff and a sequel trilogy, of course, and even some of the shows. They see kind of the stupidity of some of it. And so it's harder for them to take it seriously. It's harder for them to suspend their disbelief and really enjoy it. They still really, really like the first 6 movies and all that stuff, and they still do get some Star Wars stuff, but really nothing to do with anything new. Because, yeah, I've marginalized it. It's not very good. So if I don't think it's very good, they're not going to think it's very good. I'm their parent. And Star Wars is a generational IP. So if the parents don't like what's coming out, they aren't going to promote it to their kids. It's that simple. The prequel trilogy generation survived it in terms of this toy sales and stuff. Even though the prequels were flawed, I think the merchandising survived the prequels. But I think in part it was because the re-releases helped. There's always debate from older guys, Gen Xers and boomers, about the amount of crap that George Lucas added. But it still worked to pull in a new generation, Xennials and people like that, into Star Wars. Because they really longed to see the Star Wars movies in theaters. They never got to. They probably watched them on VHS tapes or whatever. And even though it was mostly just CGI, there were a few deleted scenes that nobody had seen in the theater. And so you felt like you were part of the Star Wars family, the OT family, because you witnessed those on screen and the previous generation didn't. And so the Power of the Force toys did very well. And to this day, they still sell. I actually still have a whole bunch of them. I did sell a bunch too, but I still have some. But the new stuff doesn't have that because of the sequels, right? So if the sequels are bad and people don't like them, and I've got young kids and they ask me what I think of them, I'm like, I don't like them. And so then they're like, oh, well, if you don't like them, maybe I shouldn't like them. That's how kids operate. They do a lot of things that their parents do. So it's, as much as they're kids' movies, it's also really important to make these movies and these shows appealing to the entire family. Like families went to watch Star Wars. Yes, it's a kids' movie. George Lucas said that, whatever. It's appealing generally to, the primary audience is 12-year-old boys or whatever. But you could go there with your dad, and your dad would still like it because it was good. It was good for everybody, right? So the sequels are just bad movies, and the subsequent TV spin-offs haven't brought back hype. They really haven't, other than The Mandalorian and Grogu. But there's only so many Grogus to sell, right? If everyone that wants a Grogu gets a Grogu, then there's no more Grogus that are going to sell, right? And even Grogu now is starting to lose a lot of his luster. People are kind of, because he doesn't change, doesn't do anything. He just puts his hand out and gargles. I mean, it's 3 seasons of that. So eventually people are just like, I don't care anymore. And if the hype is gone and there's no way parents will buy the merch, especially with so many other options out there. The OT toys keep getting revamped and they still sell to a degree, whereas the new stuff just simply doesn't. There's also this so totally overshooting themselves with the price points. The average family could afford some of this stuff back in the day, and with the quality of the plastic and the look in many cases diminishing, and having the prices going so sky high is kind of silly. It's like literally $30 for a 6-inch figure of a Scout Trooper. Like, really? It's just too much for people to pay. For many with the cost of living. Now, they do sell some of those in OT characters, but that's literally it. Like, that's the only thing that sells. Like, who's paying that? No one's paying $30 for a Rey 6-inch toy. Like, no one's doing that. So, at the end of the day, I went and bought a Rey, a Luke, and a Finn from The Last Jedi. I know what you're thinking. What? Scripture? At the dollar store. Okay, that's why I thought it was hilarious. They were at the dollar store. So, I bought them each for $1.25 each. And that was unheard of 10 years ago. And those were the 3.5-inch figures, like the Luke in the white thing, the Rey gray suit thing, and then the fin. But anyways, what I'm saying was it's unheard of 10 years ago to have Star Wars action figures in the dollar store. The only thing that you would have seen in the dollar store that was Star Wars were like stickers and maybe like posters or something back in the day. That's literally it. And the only reason I bought those figures, honestly, is I thought it was funny, and I'm hoping that they'll have value in the future, because it'd be like, these are the figures that nobody wanted and nobody bought from that terrible movie. So I thought it would be kind of funny if I actually had those, say, in like 30 years when nobody else did. And so, all that to say, the people have spoken. They aren't interested in their overpriced toys based on bland characters from bad movies and shows. Incredibly, though, Lucasfilm keeps doubling down on mediocre to badly written stories and making so many of them that the IP's completely oversaturated. That's the other reason you can't sell toys when there's just so much going on, people can't even keep up with it. It's really bad business, but they just keep throwing crap at the wall, hoping something, anything will stick like this once beloved IP used to. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Check out any of my other Star Wars content and some of my other offshoot stuff as well. And have yourself a good day.